tell you a little background. Years and years ago, I was working for a carrier that had 36 terminals in the Midwest and Southeast. And so I was producing custom training way back then and putting it on a VHS tape and send a copy of that to each terminal, and then telling all the drivers at that terminal and all the over-the-road drivers to stop at one of those terminals during the quarter and get that training done. And that company I was working for decided to sell off the LTL division where all these terminals were, and now we just had a truckload division with only one terminal. And I got drivers scattered all over the country. And I had to start figuring out how am I going, because I was committed to getting training done. And so how am I going to do it? Well, for 2 or 3 years, a fellow named Matt Cornell had been wearing my ears out. I'd get a business card from him once a week. I'd get a phone call from him every other week. And then finally the day came when I needed some online help. And I pulled out Matt Cornell's business card, and that's where our relationship got started. And so anyway, it's been a great relationship. One of the first things that we did was we've got to, I went from a staff of about 8 people down to 2. And I still got all this responsibility. I have fewer number of trucks, but I only had 2 people to handle all the safety, training, orientation, onboarding, and it's just me and one other lady. And so we decided we were going to put our orientation, at least part of it, online. And then later on, we decided we're going to do it all online. And so he's no longer with you, but a fellow came from Texarkana and came to our office, and we had a 2-day orientation, and he recorded all of it. And came back, edited it, and sent it to us for proof. And next thing you know, we got it all online. And it was working great. And after several months, our company decided that we had lost a little bit of the personal touch that we had with the driver by having him in-house with us for those 2 days. And so we decided to kind of get a hybrid schedule for orientation, and so we put part of it online, we kept part of it in-house, and that worked real well. And so then 4 years ago I went to work at Ozark Motor Lines, and I just took all the things that I'd learned from the past and took it with me to this company I was working for now, and that's what we do now. And then COVID came along and made even more changes to what we're doing. And so we began to look at, more things we could put online. And, regardless of how good you think your orientation is, I'll tell you, the drivers don't care. All they want is a set of keys and a truck, and let me go start making me some income. That's all they really care about. And so the more that we can make it convenient for them, and actually turned into less expense for us. So like today, I may hire Deborah's driver. He's still working for her, but he's getting my orientation done while he's working for her, because he just goes on his 30-minute break or 10-hour break, and he's logging on. He's getting my orientation done, and he never misses a beat. When he parks her truck, he comes to my office, and he's already got his online portion done. We do a few hours there in-house of what we think we cannot do online. And next thing we know, we got the guy driver in a truck. So, everybody has to figure out what's the best combination for them. But our orientation, doing a decent portion of it online, was huge. And so I cut out a day of hotel expense by cutting half of the in-house and doing part of it online. I cut out some meals, and next thing you know, we started saving some money, by doing those kind of things. So online orientation is one thing that we do through INFINITI. And then the other thing we do is monthly training. And so I just sent an email a minute ago. I've got 23 people in my department, And there's 4 or 5 of those I call my starting lineup, my lead-off batters that play a little heavier role than some of the others. And I just sent them an email because we've got August already working. September, just got an email from my in-house lady that helps us do the recording, and she helps produce that. We bought her a little software package and a GoPro camera, and so she's helping us produce our own custom videos, training videos. We've got that set up for September. She's almost got it finished and ready for me to approve, and we've already got October written and just hadn't recorded it yet. So now we're thinking ahead about what's November going to be. So we're doing monthly training. And back in my prior life, my other employer, we did quarterly training. And just like Mark said a while ago, if you get a lawsuit, there are certain things they are just gonna sue you for. Probably negligent hiring, probably negligent retention, probably negligent training, and they'll come up with some more, over the next few days, things that they can sue you for. And so you just got to do training. July was the first month since I'd been there 4 years where every supervisor and every driver had it completed by July the 31st. We send the training to INFINITI at least a week before the end of the month to give them time to whatever it is y'all do. Right. Technical stuff I know nothing about. And so on midnight, the first day of the month, it is in the classroom, like Steve just showed you. And they got between 28 in February or 31 days of the month to have it done. And it's a culture change, Mark. We are making culture changes at my company. It's the thing I'm most proud of than anything, is changing the behavior of the drivers and the supervisors as well. And everybody accepts it's got to be done. You ask a question about how do you get them to do it? You got to cut their throat. Now you literally got to cut their throat. And the way you would to cut their throat, you just stop their dispatch. When you stop their dispatch and they ain't gonna make no miles, they ain't gonna make no money, and mama wants to know where the check is, they'll finally understand I have to do it. And again, we shortened it, where we used to have 30 minutes or an hour's worth of training in a month, We've whittled it down to really get down to the points and say them and review them and shut up. And so now our longest training on video might be 9 minutes. More often it's 5 or 6 minutes.
What did your drivers think about the change and the increase in the training and all that? Did you get a lot of pushback?
Yeah, you got some pushback.
Yeah.
Because hey, we never had to do that in the past. Here's this new guy, and he's making us do all this stuff different. But rather than when we were doing it once a year, slips, trips, and falls every year to talk about slip, trips, and fall. It took them half a day. They would miss a half a day of work, which that's 250, 300 miles, right? That they can't get back. And they had to come in-house and do it. So now they can do it with, everybody got a smart, I got 2 or 3 drivers still got a dang flip phone. But most of them, we can get them in the office, long enough to do this. And so now they can just do it, boom, and it's done. They can do it anywhere they can get an internet connection. And so, there was pushback, but they realized instead of taking a half a day, and we would make them do the annual review of violation, that form you got to do for DOT. We had all this junk piled up that we made them do, and it took a half a day for them to get it done. And now they don't miss that half a day, and they don't have to come to the office, and they do it at their leisure, as long as they get it done within the calendar month. So
there doesn't miss the revenue because the truck's not parked against the fence?
No, not at all. And again, everybody's just finally accepted it's a new way of life. Our supervisors, we make all the supervisors go through the training. And so we had we had two, and we call them driver managers, y'all may call them dispatchers. We had two that just got on board. And so each driver manager has got, between 25 and 40 drivers or something like that. And we had two out of 20 that just, hey, I'm going to be first. Well, dadgum, we started praising them, about how good a job they were doing, and the guy that was at the bottom of the totem pole, he didn't want to be on the bottom, So he kind of got on board, and he got his done a few days before the end of the month, but I mean, it has just developed, and people just bought into a new way of life, and it took a while. I mean, it's not a light switch. It ain't going to happen like that. You just got to keep pushing, keep doing, and finally, you'll get the buy-in, you'll get the culture change that you need.
Did you lose drivers?
No, I hadn't lost any drivers. Not overtraining. I mean, we've lost some drivers. When we went to electronic logs years ago, yeah, we lost a few drivers. Then we went to automatic transmission. Well, we lost a few drivers, thought you wasn't a truck driver if you didn't have a gear shift, and so, I mean, and then we went to cameras. And we lost a few drivers. And we've now got a newer, better camera, and we've lost a couple from that. But they needed to be lost. They weren't people we needed to keep. Yes, ma'am.
How many truck drivers you got?
How many trucks?
How many truck drivers?
How big is your company?
We got 750 company trucks and another 50 or 60 owner-operators, depending on the day of the week. Yeah.
What do your owner-operators think about training online? You make them do it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to be careful with this owner-operator thing, for them thinking they, employed like a company driver, and then they ought to get the benefits. There's a lot of lawsuit, I understand about that. We've not had to face it yet, but there's certain things that we hold the owner-operator or contract driver to the same standard. One of them is our hiring standards are the same for both company and contract drivers. Training is the same thing. Now the camera, the older set of cameras we had, we didn't make owner-operators have it. And we had 2 or 3 accidents that if we'd have had a camera, we'd have never had the accident because we'd have found the driver's bad behavior long before the accident happened. And when we moved to a new set of cameras a year ago, we drew a line in the sand. We said every truck, we even put cameras in our yard mules. Every power equipment we got has got a camera in there. And we lost a few owner-operators over it, but hey, we didn't need them.
I've got to ask about client success and the support role. Do you feel like that's an extension of your safety and of your program?
Oh yeah.
Client success team?
Yeah. It's a new culture for us. We are currently coaching this one guy that heads it up. He gets about 20, 25 a week. But the rest of us, including me, coach 5 drivers every week. And so we're going through our entire fleet in about 2 or 3 months. And boy, I mean, and the data. You were showing us the seatbelt events. Man, we had seatbelt events way up here. And boy, every month you just start watching the numbers are just falling and falling and falling. We're changing culture among drivers. It's the best tool I've had in 38 years of trucking.
Have you loaded dash cams on custom content, good and bad?
Yes, I have. Mostly bad, because it's showing the drivers the errors that we have made. And the one that somebody you may have talked about, where he reached down here and grabbed, see where you reached down here? Yeah, we had a driver go right off the road, turn it over. And of course, we terminated him at that time. Well, I normally, when I use a video clip like that, that girl that does that stuff for us, she knows how to blur his face out. And if I terminate him, I just put his whole picture on there. Hey, this boy don't work for us no more, and here's the reason why.
It's not a problem. FedEx hiring.
If If you speak Spanish, we'll take it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and I'll tell you, the other thing that we're doing is with our operation department. The safety department cannot change the world. 800 plus drivers, you can't take 23 people and change all them. It's got to be I got all of our operation people involved. So we started having a 15-minute meeting every 2 weeks with all the driver managers, load planners, that kind of thing. And we take some of those video clips and we put them in there. Say, you tell me, we get half of the driver managers in one meeting and another half in another meeting, so we keep somebody there to answer the phone. And tell them, say, hey, Deborah, hey, watch this video clip. Now you tell me, what did our driver do wrong, or what did he do right? Where he got on the brakes soon enough. He was looking far enough down the road where he kept the accident from happening and that kind of thing. So we're using good and bad video.
So you mentioned like negligent retention. So you have all this data. How do you? If drivers don't at the bottom of the list, if they don't move up in a certain amount of time frame or something, do you have like a policy that says, okay, we got to let them go, or do you keep working with them? Is there any defined rules for that kind of stuff?
Well, Mark, bless his heart, told y'all to get you a policy, okay? And I don't want to contradict what Mark said, but every time you put something in writing, then you got to live by it. You got to be prepared to live by it. So there's a little bit of our stuff that's kind of spongy.
More like a recommendation than a policy.
Yeah, and so I say, Eric, you got to make changes, and then if you don't make change, I may, I'll give you a second final warning instead of just the first final warning, So some of it's a little spongy, but yeah, the ultimate question is, can you defend that driver when he went among them 12 people right there? And that's when my guys, my starting lineup, when they asked me, can we keep this guy or not? I said, or can you be put on the witness stand and defend him in that courtroom? And if you think you can, okay, we'll keep him. And if you don't think you can, don't think I'm going to get up there and do it. So, that's kind of the standard, I guess. There's a standard there, but it's a little spongy.
Well, that's right, though. If you have a policy, those plaintiff attorneys will look at every policy you have until they find one that you don't follow or you didn't train somebody on, and then they'll say you're negligent.
Likewise, if all of the technology you have, and if you're not utilizing the data and using the data, you had access to using it. And
I did a mediation yesterday, and I had done a deposition on this case about a year ago. And I've done several depositions in 38 years. And I thought I was pretty prepared. And I flew over here to Dallas for this deposition a year ago. And the plaintiff attorney took my red book, we call it. It's my driver manual. Our company color is red. We call it the red book. And he didn't pull out a paragraph. He didn't pull out a sentence. He pulled out 3 or 4 words out of one sentence in this 80-something page manual, typewritten manual, and started grilling me on that right there. Which the next week, my in-house attorney went through and edited our red book, our driver's manual.
Fix that.
But 'cause that's what they do, and they're trying to get these people mad at you, and if they do, you're going to lose. It's going to be more zeros. If you're guilty.
But they're reasonable people. They're reasonable.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And so if you're guilty, then you're going to pay them civil damages. But then, if you make them people mad, if he makes them people mad, and it shows that you weren't being responsible, they're going to start putting them zeros on there for the punitive damages. And boy, I'll tell you, thank God Texas just went through that tort reform. We haul a buku of freight for FedEx. And we were just at the point of deciding whether we're going to accept FedEx freight for Texas or not. We just getting punished over here by plaintiff attorneys. It's tough.
You know, since you've been with Ozark, and I know you really did a culture change and you're still working on it and all that, can you see, or could you say that you've reduced violations, accidents, incidents, anything gone down that you can point your finger at?
I'll tell you, I wouldn't normally, tell this if I wasn't kind of proud of it. When I got there, our unsafe driving score was 91.
91 percentile.
91 percentile. We're at 27 today for unsafe driving. So yeah, we're making changes. I look at our preventable accidents for the first 6 months of this year, over the first 6 months of last year, we're down 48%.
Wow.
So the culture that we're changing, monthly training, cameras, the things that we're doing are going to pay us big dividends. And hey, we did what you just got through saying. We doubled our deductible this year. Our insurance year started August the 1st. We doubled our deductible this year. We're going to take on more risk. We feel like we can and save money. And now I got to make sure it happens. One of the last things that Mark said was talking about go back to your basics.
Yes.
Well, I don't like him, but you have to admire this guy named Nick Saban. And that's how he built that football team in Alabama, is on basics. Fix the basics, all this other stuff will work itself out. So that's what I thought of when I saw
To
your...
retire one of these days.
Huh?
I just want to know when he's going to retire.
Or come be our coach, one of the two. Hey, the last thing I'd say, Steve, and finishing up, there was a fella several years ago, a friend of mine, who they named as the TTA, Tennessee Truck Association Professional of the Year. And when he went to the convention in Sandestin, Florida, and went up on podium, they had this big award for him, for being named the best safety professional in the state of Tennessee that year. He said, now I'll start leaving people out if I start trying to thank this one and thank that one, that kind of thing. And he said, so here's what I'm going to tell you. He said, I'm like that farmer one summer afternoon driving down the gravel road. And his old pickup truck, fenders is flopping on it and about to rust off, and he dust boiling behind his pickup. And all of a sudden he slams on the brakes and slides to a stop. And he backed up in that dust, and he looked, and there's a turtle sitting on top of this fence post. He got out, walked over to that turtle. He said, Mr. Turtle, I just got to know, how did you get up there on top of that fence post? And he, trust me, I didn't do it by myself. And that's what I'd tell y'all about all this is, we may be competitors, but we're not in this arena right that we're at here today. The way when we share with each other, it just makes each one of us better, and where we can beat them plaintiff attorneys at their own game.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah.